Hello guys, welcome back to video number 10 in our introduction to programming series with Python. So in this tutorial, we are going to go ahead and learn about different comparison operators such as the greater than, the less than, the equal, the less than or equal, the greater than or equal, and the negate in the negator operator. Okay, so let's jump into it. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a file right here. I'm going to create a file and I'm going to call this file, this is going to be part underscore 10.py. So part 10.py. So once I have that file created in here, I'm just going to go ahead and write the code in here. But just before we begin to write the code, let me just explain to you some things about that you need to know about comparison operators in Python. So comparison operators are used to compare values together and returns a boolean statement depending on the comparison. For example, we can check if 4 is greater than 5, and that can be either true or false, right? Or we can check if 4 is equals to 4. That can be either a true or a false, or 4 is not equals to 5. That can result into a true or a false. So that's what we mean by boolean. So comparison operators compare values and then return boolean values to indicate the comparison. Okay. So to understand comparison operators, I think the best thing to do is just to code them. So I'm just going to create a variable here. I'm going to call this variable, it's going to be of type int, and I'm just going to assign 10 to it. So sorry, I can't really type. I have the mic right in front of me, so sometimes that's why I make those typos. So just bear with me. So I have an integer, another variable called integer, and it's called y, and it's going to be of type int. So once I have these values right here, I can just go ahead and begin to compare them. So as I said, if you compare two values using the comparison operators, it's going to give us just a true or a false, right, to indicate whether two values are the same or they're different. Okay, so for example, I'm going to do the following. So I'm going to say print, I'm going to say y is equals to x is equals to y. That is going to return to us false, right? So if I run this code, it should return to us false. So to run the code, I'm just going to go into my terminal, clear the terminal, and then simply do Python 3. In Windows, it's going to be Py, and then simply say part, and it's going to be part 10, right? So and just run the code. So now you can see we get false because 5 is not 6, right? I mean 10 is not equals to 6. You can see x is not equals to y, so we get false, right? So if imagine I change y to become 10, so 10 is equals to 10, so that should return to us a true, a boolean true. So we can check different values. So let's check if we can check if it's greater than or less than. So you can check if it's greater than, is y greater than. Let me change this back to 6. So I can change this back to 6, and is 10 greater than 6? That's true. So let's run the code and let's see what we get. So if I run the code again, now we get true because 10 is greater than 6, x is greater than y. So I just go ahead and copy this and paste it a couple of times. So I'm just going to go ahead and comment out this part right now. Let me just delete this part here. You just use the same line of code. So we can also say less than sign, and you can check is x less than y. I mean, is 10 less than 6? That's false, right? Because 10 is greater than 6, so we get back false. And we can also check, let me just comment this so I can leave it for you guys in case you want to refer to it. So you can say we can also check if x is we can also use is less than or equals to y. So is x greater than or equals to y? So you just run it and let's see what we get. So we get back to it true because 6 at 10 is greater than or equals to y. So we have that. So you can let me just comment out this part of the code, and you can also do print, and you can say x is less or equals to y. And what do you think the output is going to be? That's going to be false, right? Because yeah, 10 obviously is greater than 6, right? So we get back that result. So we also have the last one, the last type of comparison operator that I want to talk about in this video, and that's the negator operator. So the negator is just if I just make a comment here, the negator is just simply the exclamation mark. So when you put the exclamation mark, it's going to negate, right, anything. So it simply says not, right? So for example, I can print this right here is x equals, I can say equals to y, right? So we have that. We already seen this part, right? X equals to y, and x in this case 10 is not equals to 6, so it's going to return false. So the way we check comparison, like to check if two things are equal, we just use the equal operator, right? So now to check, we're going to check and make sure that 10 is not equals to 6, right? X is not equals to 6. Yeah, so that's how we can use the equal operators to check if two values are equal. Now, what if you want to check if two values are not equal? So that's where you can use the negator and just put the negator and then equal sign. So this is going to negate the statement. So you can simply say x is not equals to y. That's how you can read it. So this is called a negator, and whenever you put in front of something, it's going to negate that thing. So we're saying x is not equals to y, right? And that's true. That should be true because 6 is not in any way equals to 10, right? So that's how we get that. So that's how you can work with comparison operators in Python. So in the next video, let's look at actually to see if I have any assignment for you guys. No, I don't have any assignment for you guys. So I just practice working with the negators and stuff like that. Okay. So once we have that done, we can also look at the logical operators in Python. Python comes with a lot of logical operators that you can use. So there is a logical operators like such as and or. So let's take a look at those ones right here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a file. Another file I'm going to simply call this file. It's going to be part. Let me say part underscore 11.py, right? So create that file. So in part 11.py file, I'm just going to go ahead and write the code to find to see how we can use the logical operators in Python. And there are two logical operators in Python. There is the AND logical operators and there is the OR logical operators. So let's actually go ahead and write the code to see how logical operators work. So let me just keep some code here, just some comment to just indicate what we are doing. So these are just logical operators. So let me just get that logical operators. Operators in Python. So logical operators in Python. So once I have this, let me just go ahead and give you something. Let's just create two variables. So it's a statement. I'm going to call it statement. Let me call it statement 1. Okay, statement 1, and it's going to be of type boolean. So sorry, of type bool, just like that. And you're going to go ahead and have the value let's say true inside of it. And you're going to have statement 2. Okay, statement 2 statement 2, let me change that to be 2. So statement 2, and it's going to be, let me just keep the type hint here. So I'm going to say boolean, and it's going to be of type false. So we have true and false. And I told you earlier on, when you're dealing with the variables and data types in Python, that Python is case sensitive. So this have to be capital letter T for true and capital letter F for false. Okay, so make sure you have that. Okay, so make sure you follow the casing right here. So once I have those casings done, I can go ahead and actually look at the first logical operator, which is the AND logical operator. So AND logical operator returns to us true if both of the statements are true. So we have one statement and statement 2. So if the first statement and the second statement are true, then it's going to go ahead and return true, because it's going to return true if both of the statements are true. So let me just demonstrate this. So I'm going to go ahead and simply print there something. I'm going to say statement 1 and statement 2. Statement 2. Just change statement 2. Okay. So I have statement 1 and statement 2. So what do you think it's going to be? So this is one of them is true, another one is false. So statement 1 and statement 2 need to be true, right, before this whole statement can return true. Else it's going to return to us false. So if any of them is false, then you're going to get an overall output of false. If both of them is true, then you're going to get an overall output of true. So let me just go ahead and run the code again. So this is going to be part 11. So part 11, and run the code. We can see we get back false because one of them is true and the other one is false. So I'm just going to go ahead and change this to be true, and let's see. So it's going to return a true if statement 1 is true and statement 2 is also true. So I'm just going to go back in here and run the code again. So run the code again. Now you can see we get back true because statement 1 is true and statement 2 is also true. So that's how you can use the AND logical operator. So basically that's how AND logical operators work. So let's move on to the OR logical operator, which is the second type of operator that we have. So I'm just going to repeat the same statement. So print statement 1, and then say OR statement 2. So what this is going to do is let me just change to be statement 2. So this is going to return a true if one of the statement is true, whether statement 1 is true or statement 2 is true. So whenever one of them is true, it's going to return to us true. When both of them are true, it's also going to return to us true. But when one of the that's basically it. So one of them must be true. But if both of them are false, then it's going to be a false. But if one of them is true and the other one is false, it's going to be returning a true. If both of them are true, it's going to return a true. If both of them are false, that's the only time you're going to get false. So it's going to return to us false in cases in which both of the statements are true. So in this case, both one of the statement is true, another one is also true. So it's returned to us a general true. So if I run it, you get back a true. And if I change this to be false, and also we are going to get back a true. And the only time you get back a false is when both of them are false. Like in this case, let me change this one to also to be false. And now we have false and false. So false or false is going to be false, right? So that's a logical operators in Python. You can see false here. So these logical operators can not only be used with kind of like boolean, kind of like this kind of like direct boolean values. You can also create the statements and use them. So for example, you can create a mathematical expression that uses the comparison operator. So for example, I can say that print, I'm going to have a first statement. I'm going to say 4 is less than 3, right? That's true. I'm going to say and I'm going to have another statement, 4 is greater than 5, or 8. 4 is greater than 8. So in this case, you're going to get back a false, because in this case, 4 is less than 3. That's the 4 is greater than 3. This is false, right? Because 4 is greater than 3. So this is going to be false. But this one here is going to be also false. But if you change it around this way, it's going to be true. In this case, 4 is less than 8. That's true. But in this case, we have 4 is less than 3. That's false. So we have a false and we have a true. So false, we have a false and a true. So false and true is going to return to us false, right? So let's go ahead and actually try this out. So if you check, you get back a false. And if I change this around and just say this way, so let me just go ahead and return it back. So I'm just going to undo what I just did and then just return it back. And if I change it to be, oh, what do you think the output is going to be? So this is going to be 4 is less than 3. That's false. And you're saying 4 is less than 8. That's true. So one of them is true, another one is false, so we should get back a true, right? So good. That's how for this statement can work, and we can use them. We'll see how we can use this in later videos to compare different stuff. Okay, so we can use them in later to compare different stuff, and you're going to go on to the next video. We're going to look at if and else statements. You're going to look at conditional statements and different types of conditional statements that you have in Python and in programming in general. And we can compare different things. For example, you can check if the person age is 18. If that's true, then you're going to do something else. You're going to do something just like that. That's how you instruct the computer, basically. So these are just comparison operators and logical operators to help you with comparison operators to do different stuff. So for example, in this a code here, and you're going to go ahead and tell me what the output is going to be. So don't run the code, actually just look at the code and just tell me what you think the output is going to be. So just going to go ahead and type this. What do you think the output of this code is going to be? So just pause the video, think about it for a while. So basically we are saying 10 is greater than 30. That's false. And we're saying 30 is greater than 10. That's true. So let's run the code again. Let's see what we get. Let's see, we get back false, right? Because one of them is false and this one is false in this case. But if I change this around to be this, and then both of them are going to be true. So true and true is true, right? So the end only returns true if both of the statements are true. This is true, and the other one on the end side, and on the other end of the end sign is also, end operator is also true. So when both sides of the equation are true, so that's basically both sides of the expression basically are true. So that's basically how we can use comparison operators, and these are very instrumental and commonly used in programming languages, and they are it's important that you understand how they work, because from now on we're moving to conditional statement and we're looking at these logical operators and comparison operators in programming, and see how we can use it to apply it for our different stuff. So yeah, that's all for this video. So let's look if I have any assignment for you. Okay, I don't have any assignment. So in the next video we're going to be going ahead and looking at logical operators. So let me just say conditional statements, and that is where you apply the knowledge of logical operators and comparison operators in Python, right? So yeah, that's all for this video. So see you in the next video where we're going to be looking at conditional statements in Python.